Good morning. So, what is peace? Why is peace important? What is the problem with peace in society today and the route it is taking? There are two kinds of peace. One through violence and the destruction of the enemy. However, as Marcia just read, from time immemorial, when saints and sages sought for the kingdom of heaven, they did not seek it by vying with their enemies, expressing wrath and anger full of fury. Rather, we understand that they forgot themselves even in front of their enemies' swords. They sought the kingdom while quietly ongoing for God, worshiping God, and feeling the peaceful embrace in God's bosom, transcending the circumstances of the battle. We've read this twice in the last few minutes. I ask you respectfully, do you resonate with that? Many of us have gone a course that even God could not imagine. As true parents also went an unimaginable course. And I really honor you for having taken up something in hope and standing fast, in steadfastness actually, keeping your hand to the plow, as it were, to build a dream. Now, there are some problems with establishing peace. People of faith and conscience, as well as the secular world, describe peace as not. Meaning, not this and not that. Well, honestly, you cannot establish a not. You cannot establish that which is when other elements are removed. It's simply not a goal. So we've been rather fuzzy about it. Fortunately, our dear parents were not fuzzy in any way. And the concept of most religious people have of peace is that it's a sensation or an environment that produces the sensation. So, in terms of kingdom building, how do you establish a feeling? Awkward, isn't it? It truly is. Now, Father, with his very clear definition, not only of peace and how it is expressed through all levels of society, also has shared with us how and what must be done to establish it. In speaking to the former heads of state of countries across the globe, media delegates and communist authorities in Moscow, 1990, he began by saying, everything exists in pairs. Why is this so? Why did he begin there? The media had asked him, is a spiritual renaissance required for the establishment of positive progress in economics, government, etc., etc.? And of course, the rest of his speech expanded on that. So why is it that he began in speaking not only to communist authorities, but the secular media, and now to us, some 30 years later, immersed in secularism? Why is this important when we think of peace? That is because peace is relational. You cannot have a piece of peace, if you will. No, peace reflects that which is in relationship to something else. Now, because we are from the tradition we think, well, it's not warfare, okay? And it's not this and it's not that. But You see, love and peace are interrelated elements. Because as we've learned from Father, yeah, I know I'm ad-libbing, but give me some space here on this one. We've learned from Father that value comes through the fulfillment, meaning the topping off of satisfaction in love with your spouse. Your value doesn't come from your teachers, your supervisor at work. It comes from the most important person. And you know, when you started life, you were in relationship for a good 9 months. I mean, you got along swimmingly, and I do mean that, with your mom. You guys had no problems getting along. You understood each other reasonably well, and all was beneficial and wonderful for both of you. Well, there may have been a few pinches and nudges there and here, but still, you were not alone. You were in relationship, and it was a wonderful relationship of comfort and sufficiency. So, peace is relational. Your value is determined in your relationship with another, both the value you see of yourself and the value that person sees in you. Is that not right? Love is relational. Even justice is relational. Just means a balance of what and what. Is it right and wrong? Is it this and that? Is it greater? Is it lesser? It is relational. And I tell you, as Father has said, if there is not love, there is not justice. So we hear these war cries that are threats. Veiled threats, maybe not, maybe conscientious assertions. But I tell you, I hear the spirit that is a threat. No justice, no peace. What does that say to you? You catch it, I'm sure you do. But there is no justice without sufficiency. And that sufficiency is found in the love and in the heart and in the relationship with your true spouse. And I want you to consider for a moment how as you started in relationship, you, after your birth and your growth and all these different nuances of getting from point A to point B, childhood, adolescence, and all the things in between, you are entering into a voluntary free will association to reestablish an immutable, eternal, and absolute bond with someone just as crazy as you. You aren't perfect, but in your childhood, you gave a lot of leeway in your friends to accept you just the way you are, did you not? And one of the reasons you love your young friends in first, second, and third grade is they weren't coming down on you, telling you what you did wrong. They just liked you because they just liked you. So do you see? You start in unity, you live your life to a certain extent, and then you voluntarily enter back into that same kind of intimate unity you had with your mother. Is it not so? And if it isn't, can you not conceive what it might indicate? So, here we are, creating a campaign, a lifestyle, a movement centered on peace. How can we begin to understand how to connect the dots between our families and the concept of world peace? Whether we start from the womb and then enter into a love relationship, an eternal, absolute love relationship with another human being, what does this have to do with world peace? Well, I wish I could come up with the right word. I would really amaze you, and I would amaze me too. But fortunately, that's not what this is about. So let's just go with the quote. Father said, "The pattern of true love is not that of being served. It is to serve others." When God himself initially created his object of love, he invested every ounce of his energy, 100% of his being. This established the pattern of true love. In other words, the tradition of true love as total investment was established by God. At that point, true love became the center of the universe. And even Almighty God chooses to be obedient to it. Sacrificial love is the highest and fullest expression of love in the province of good or true parents. It honors their parents, fulfills the need of the child, emulates the physical and emotional creativity of God, and is the essential factor of sustainability of self and the well-being of the entire created world. To break this down, the fundamental structure of the universe is in the pattern of pairs. What holds this together? Wise colleagues, it is love. A type of love, true love, that puts the well-being of the other and the whole above the self. This creates a network of interrelatedness throughout the entire world. Everything has purpose, meaning, and value, not just because it randomly exists, but because its existence, beyond maintaining itself, is valuable to the other parts and to the whole. Because of this, the love ascribes value. Love is eternal, and as such, is absolute. When we were matched and blessed by true parents, we could not help but notice the extreme differences that each brought to the marriage. And too, when children came along, they were remarkably different from one another as well. I do not know where Dr. Frank Kaufman came up with this definition. Perhaps it is a quote from True Father, which is likely. But it says, and bear with me, true parentism, that is Godism, this is hard. I'm sorry. True parentism is a philosophical doctrine based on that which makes it possible for radically different individuals in a physical family to be harmonized in love for one another, even though the exact same individuals, were it not for the fact of their common descent, might well be profoundly hostile to one another. Thank you. So I know that was a very weighty thing. And for those who got it, it probably turned on a few lights on the tree. So speaking of tree, I would like to ask you to think about a tree as an illustration. That was hard reading, I know. Let's say an oak tree, okay? Do you have your imagination on? Okay, this is not going to be very, thank you, dear. Caught it. This is not going to be literal. So come share with me this moment. An oak tree. There are differing elements to a tree. The unbending trunk, the unseen root, the leafless limbs, the burdened branches that whip in the wind, the chatter of the leaves that seem always to have something to say, to do, to express, regardless of wind speed, the dash-slash of squirrels in furry, amorous pursuit, the flock of birds trying the patience of their mother branch with their late afternoon sit-in competition. Well, yes, we can well imagine how the tree interacts with its environment and contributes to the well-being of humans and other animals, great and small. But what about its internal composition? The stately trunk reaches for what? Light. The visible seeks the invisible. The unseen root seeks what? Water. The unseen seeks the visible. What could possibly be more diverse than those oaken elements? I imagine the dignified father trunk learned to endure silently the ever-reactive enthusiasm of his children leaves. The mother branch, ever protective and nurturing, clings to the hands of her little ones in rain and gale and calamity. The leaves in time fall, some in terror, no doubt, others oblivious, still others experiencing the thrill of their lives. There they rest on the floor of the forest, lawn, or farm, covering the acorns with a blanket of warmth and nutrition, waiting for spring and a hoped-for sprout. In time, the mother branch bears no more bud or fruit. She doesn't get around as much as she used to. Her daughters bear the bud, and she begins to resemble more and more grandfather trunk. Oh my, she may think, I remember when he was such a whippersnapper of a sapling. What a unique family. Some move, some don't. Some are seen, some are not. Those that are seen seek what cannot be seen, and those who are unseen seek what can be. The family of a tree has every element that lends itself to divisiveness among humankind. But there is more. In a forest or grove, you do not see one branch smacking around another branch. No, they are humble and make place and space for the other tree and its branches. God has really worked it all out so well. And that's an example to me, perhaps, and perhaps to others, about how diversity in our very interestingly composed ideal families we have. Perhaps some of us have found that to be accurate. What then allows the family to bring about harmony? It is, in a word, the self-sacrificial nature of parental love and the actions that flow from it. Though children must focus initially on their own growth and development at young ages, they are watching and learning from their parents how to interact with the world and others. So why must we wax philosophical about parenthood? Because it is a pattern that can be expanded into greater and greater levels of social organization. We know, for example, that parents are not parents until they have children, and then a whole new realm of love opens up to us as our relationship to God grows exponentially. Dr. Kaufman explained to a room full of religious leaders that the type of parental administration of true parents is, I pause so that you can really hear this. This is a humdinger. The unrestrained, true parentism is the unrestrained investment in liberation, the creation of personal responsibility, self-sufficiency, and independence as characterizing the fullest imaginable participation in love and life in abundance. Perhaps you never thought of things that way, but if you consider the type of relationship you would like there to be between government and citizens, it works. And on a family level, it also works. Have you noticed that when Mother criticizes societies, the terms she uses are not political, but personal? Selfishness and greed, are the qualities she asks us to repent about. She places responsibility in the place where solutions can take root and change can be manifested. Hence, peace starts with we and me. When we go door to door to meet people to offer them the blessing, we become acutely aware of how very different their lives are from ours. What is it that serves as guidelines for peace building within our various organizations? I find True Father's explanation of the unity and harmony of the vertical and the horizontal, and the harmony between these two, to be the most fresh and versatile. I have spoken a long time. I ask you to bear with me. Let us consider, because I'm thinking about society and whether it works for us. Many of us have gone this way and it didn't work for us. We carried on trying to fake it till we make it. Then we found out we became really good fakers. That didn't work. So at some time or another, we all sought, what is it? What is it that we are doing and attempting to do that is truly worthy and ideal, despite what we can't do, right? We all did that. So here is the answer that I had been seeking. From the position of good governance, the vertical line refers to the ethnic and religious elements of society. The ethnic quality refers to how we love, care, and express these things to family and others. That's what Mom and Dad taught us, and Grandpa and Grandma. Religion nurtures the development of our understanding of God or a benevolent ideal and provides keys for overcoming challenges, harmonizing areas of good, bad, mind, body, self, and others. A good society, a good family, will have a congruent, that means everything's in harmony, and supporting understanding that educates the children and draws on the wisdom of the elders as it contributes to the overall well-being of all. The horizontal line refers to economics and good government management. Parents, like governments, must regulate the relationships within the family and in relationship with other families, or within the nation and in relationship to other nations. The existence of extreme poverty and extreme wealth within a nation will lead to strife should selfishness and greed assert itself with impunity. To deny the creativity and dignity of the individual to meet his own needs, that is self-sufficiency, and contribute to the happiness and well-being of his family to provide. And to the community to offer value from what God has placed within him, is to deny the value of the citizen both in potential and in substance. How do these two areas work together? This is what I learned going door to door. To attain a holy sphere with a place for all that God created, we come as the beloved creation, contributing the best fruits of our respective traditions, understanding, revering the foundations we stand on, and perfecting the harmony of all in the present, leaving the residue not by rejection, but in gratitude that no longer pertain to what is needed now. This means that there is room for all of us, we, you, me, and the guy over there who, wherever he is, whoever he is loved and is meant to be. Universality unchanging authority, which is accessible to all, and supportive development is the inherent and an inherent system of harmonization is what is a prerequisite for peace. So when I go and I meet people and they say, "Are you Christian? What are you? Who are you? What are you doing?" I emphasize the fact that your foundation is a sacred foundation. You have meaning here and now. And we are inviting you to join with us in a federation of families who respect God, respect our spouse, care for our children, and respect all others. If this were not true, then I would have no need for this wonderful organization. It would not be universal. I need the unchanging authority that is accessible, not just to me and my religious traditions, but to all. And this is what God has proved himself to be. We must support the development of each and every person in all their different traditions, allowing them to understand God to the best of their ability. They will let go of that which is less and will embrace that which is more fulfilling. We call this God. We call this family. We call this love. Within the person, the family, and society, this is the structure, the anatomy of the ideal that we call world peace. Centered on God's universal love for all, his unchanging authority, his accessibility to everyone, and the desire to ever explore and expand the realm of love that he created, we have not only the blueprint, but the foundation, and are marching forward, not just for our own liberation and salvation, but for that of the entire world. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for going out whenever you can, whenever you do, to share this with the people of this community and the rest of this world. And with a humble heart and a grateful heart, I thank you. Dear loving Heavenly Parent, connecting the individual with the world, finding our place, finding the meaning and significance of who we are and who the other is. We can only come to you with gratitude and in humility. Many of us have not worried too much about how to get things done on a global level. But when we are faced with unseen roots seeking one thing, as we lift our limbs to the air, we wonder, how can there be unity? How can there be harmony? And when we behold the breadth and the depth of your expression in our work and in the world, we see that unifying principle that bring men and women, east and west, north and south, white and black, into that one harmonious rhythm, the lifeblood of our true parents, that beats within our souls, that beats in our mind, that runs in the veins of our heart and our children's hearts. Oh, Father, this is truly a great and terrible day, and we embrace you. Yes, we have been naughty. I remember when I was very young, that problem I had with my mom. She made me cry. when she held out her arms and this little 3-year-old came to her and the world was right again. Amen. Heavenly Parent, we, your children, are so sorry when we realize that there was a misunderstanding as we walked this path. We did so try, but we fell so short. And we want you to know that we want nothing more than to be with you again in peace and in harmony. We ask you so dearly and sincerely that we can have the humble heart and mind, that we can repent in whatever way makes sense, that we can come to your side and feel the love that we felt when we were just beginning, and that our parents promised, and that we committed ourselves to. Let this day, oh dear parents, be a day of new awakening and new beginning. Fill these people and myself with the strength of your love, the brightness of your wisdom, and the sincerity that has propelled you and our true parents forward this time and on into the future. May we be a fragrant offering to you and to our descendants. When we lie like leaves upon the ground, hoping for our children's well-being and success, may a beautiful and a wonderful fragrance come from the ground, and may they be filled with joy when they think of us, the ones that could love when there was nothing clear, when we dreamed the impossible dream, when we tried to go forward with strength and conviction to make our Father's heart, to save our Father's heart from despair and discouragement. Oh Lord, we don't know what we have done, good nor bad. But we do know this. We love you, and it is our love that moves us forward. It is the love that you made, and that makes us like you. And we offer this day and this coming week, and we offer our prayers for those with whom we are concerned, and for the projects that we have before us going to the end of this year, on the cusp of Foundation Day 2020. Be with our leaders, secular and religious. And we offer our love, our life, our hopes and desires here and now as central blessed